Alright folks, buckle up, because what unfolded across Father's Day weekend was not just messy, it was a full-blown public unraveling that even her most loyal supporters cannot spin anymore. Claressa Shields spent 7 straight days trapped in an online spiral, firing off responses, dragging bloggers, snapping at commentators, and turning every quiet minute of the weekend into another headline she probably wishes she could take back. And the wildest part? While Claressa Shields was burning through the internet trying to defend her position, Papoose'S was reportedly nowhere near the smoke. No shout-out. No repost. No public backup. Nothing. On the one weekend where a partner is supposed to stand tall, Papoose'S reportedly vanished, and that silence hit harder than any punch Claressa Shields has ever thrown in the ring. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, I'm your boy Marcus Hale, this is Shaw Money, and today we're pulling every thread of the story people were whispering about all weekend but nobody had the guts to lay out from top to bottom. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and let's break down exactly why Claressa Shields' entire online run this weekend may go down as the moment her personal brand collided with her professional lane at full speed. Here's the twist that started it all. Claressa Shields wasn't just posting a couple of frustrated captions. She spent the entire weekend responding to strangers, quoting critics, clapping back at content creators, and answering commentary that was already circulating in public. Every new upload, every new response, every new heated caption seemed to pour gasoline on a fire she lit herself. And instead of the situation dying down the way weekends usually cool off online, this one grew louder by the hour. Comments came flooding in from every direction. Some accused her of insecurity. Some argued she looked less like a 2-time Olympic champion and more like someone trying to convince herself that her relationship still made sense. Others simply asked the question everybody has been asking for months now: if this thing between Claressa Shields and Papoose'S is really as solid as she claims, then why does she keep having to defend it in public? Look at it this way. When a relationship is genuinely healthy, the people inside it don't feel the constant need to prove it to strangers. Critics have been repeating that point for months, and this weekend gave them fresh ammunition. Because it wasn't just about a random online spat. It was Father's Day weekend, a moment where fans expected Papoose'S to show up for Claressa Shields publicly. Instead, according to viewers watching every post like a hawk, Papoose'S appeared to be focused somewhere else entirely. And Claressa? She was left doing what she always seems to end up doing lately, carrying the emotional weight of a relationship that keeps making her look like an afterthought. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Critics kept slamming the same wall over and over: the man is still legally married. Whatever private promises may or may not exist between Papoose'S and Claressa Shields, the paperwork tells a public story that cannot be waved away. And when someone still hasn't finalized a divorce, defenders don't get to pretend that reality doesn't exist. That's the argument that keeps punching holes in every explanation she tries to offer. Because no matter how many red flowers she posts, no matter how many red carpet appearances they book together, the marital status on paper contradicts the fairy tale she keeps trying to sell. And this weekend, that contradiction came into sharper focus than ever. Sometimes the lesson lands the hard way. That's the phrase that kept echoing through the comments. Because while Claressa was blowing up timelines with defensive posts, Remy Ma was quite literally having the best week of her year. A song with French Montana and Max B climbed to the top of the charts. Remy Ma hit multiple major events across New York City. Cameras caught Remy Ma at the Knicks celebrations. Remy Ma hosted morning shows. Remy Ma dropped a movie that premiered that same weekend to real fanfare, with viewers praising the twists and calling it one of her strongest projects yet. Everywhere you looked, Remy Ma was winning. Everywhere Claressa looked, she saw somebody else stacking the exact kind of wins she claims not to be threatened by. And then came the moment that made every social media detective sit up straight. Claressa Shields debuted a fresh orange hairstyle. Fine. Nothing wrong with switching it up. Except Remy Ma had literally been rapping about orange hair on her recent verses. The internet did what the internet does. Within hours, split-screen comparisons flooded every timeline. Some fans said it was a coincidence. Others said she keeps making these little moves that look suspiciously like tributes to a woman she claims not to be competing with. Whether it was intentional or accidental, the optics did not do her any favors. Here's another thread worth pulling. People who track Papoose'S public appearances have been documenting a pattern for a while now, and this weekend gave that pattern extra weight. Whenever there's a Tamron Hall taping, a Breakfast Club segment, a red carpet event, or a paid endorsement moment, Papoose is right there beside her, smiling for the cameras, arm around her shoulder, playing the role of the devoted partner to perfection. But outside those camera moments, fans keep pointing out that Papoose seems to be somewhere else. Vacations happen. Big trips happen. But the small, ordinary, everyday relationship footage, the kind that fans of long-term couples always eventually see, that never seems to arrive. Drop your verdict in the comments below. Do you think Papoose is genuinely committed to Claressa Shields, or does the public appearance schedule tell a different story? Because critics have their answer already. They believe Papoose treats her like a business appearance rather than a life partner, and this weekend's silence during Father's Day only reinforced that view. Now here's where the money conversation gets loud. Reports have been circulating about a fight deal reportedly valued around $8 million, with additional expectations for future paydays. But according to people close to the story, the full purse isn't guaranteed up front. Chunks of it depend on future fights actually being announced and executed. Fans were watching the calendar all last week, expecting a major fight announcement. The day came. The day went. Nothing dropped. And immediately the online conversation shifted. Some commentators wondered if the back and forth with Alicia Baumgartner had made promoters nervous. Others speculated that all the personal drama she keeps generating online is starting to spook business partners. Nothing has been confirmed. But the pattern isn't hard to see. When a professional athlete becomes more famous for public arguments than for performances in the ring, business slows down. And if the business slows down for the champ, guess who else might feel the impact? That's the layer critics keep hammering. Because if Papoose's lifestyle is even partially tied to her earning power, then every viral rant, every heated caption, every self-inflicted controversy has downstream consequences. Nobody's saying it out loud. But the whispers online are getting harder to ignore. Let me hit you with the observation that broke the internet this weekend. During all of this, during the wins, during the drama, during Father's Day, during the movie premiere for Remy Ma, Papoose never once publicly amplified Claressa. No shout-outs. No reposts. No comment sections lit up with his defense. Instead, Papoose posted a rap clip that included lyrics referencing backdooring people, with a line about, "Your girl will backdoor you." Fans immediately split into two camps. One camp said it was just a bar. The other camp said Papoose was sending a coded message the internet was smart enough to decode. Whatever the truth is, Papoose picked that weekend, of all weekends, to release those words. That timing wasn't accidental to a lot of viewers. And then the tattoo conversation resurfaced. Claressa Shields has publicly displayed a tattoo connected to Papoose. Papoose still has a tattoo connected to Remy Ma. Supporters can spin that however they want, but critics say the visual truth is undeniable. One person is marking the other permanently. The other is carrying a permanent mark from a completely different woman. When people say, actions speak louder than posts, that's exactly the kind of contrast they mean. Here's another moment that's making the rounds. In a past interview, Papoose reportedly said things like, "Oh no, never a ring," and, "Oh no, not living together." Fans keep pulling those quotes back into the conversation. Because when you line up those old statements next to Claressa's recent posts about being deeply committed, the picture stops making sense. Are they engaged in the way she implies, or are they in the situation Papoose himself described publicly? Two very different realities. Both cannot be true at the same time. Now brace yourself for the part that had everybody talking. Some online commentators started quoting a T.I. lyric, the one about someone being able to fill her space and forget her face. Was it fair? Was it harsh? That's for the audience to decide. But that comparison spread like wildfire this weekend, because it captured what a lot of viewers already suspected. The relationship, from the outside, has been looking less like a partnership and more like a placeholder. Meanwhile, defenders of Claressa argue that she has every right to speak for herself. She's a champion. She's an Olympic gold medalist. She's earned the platform to defend her personal life if she chooses to. Nobody's disputing that. But the counter-argument keeps coming back to the same point: professional athletes usually let the ring do the talking. When a fighter starts spending more time engaging with bloggers than sparring in preparation for a fight, the business side of boxing tends to notice. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. Reports have started circulating, unverified so far, that certain opportunities Claressa once had lined up may no longer be as certain as they once were. Nobody's confirming names. Nobody's confirming brands. But the whispers are consistent enough that they've become part of the mainstream conversation. Whether those whispers turn out to be true or false, they're now part of the picture. And every additional rant she drops online only amplifies those whispers instead of shutting them down. Drop your verdict in the comments below. Do you think Claressa Shields is being unfairly targeted, or do you think she's been walking into every trap laid in front of her? Because critics are convinced of one thing above all: the more she posts, the smaller she looks. And the more Papoose stays silent, the louder that silence becomes. Let's zoom out for a second, because context matters. Remy Ma has spent decades building her position in New York culture. Fans call Remy Ma New York royalty for a reason. When Remy Ma walked into those Knicks celebrations, the city responded. When Remy Ma dropped a project, the city amplified it. That's homegrown loyalty, built over 20+ years of grinding, respected verses, and community credibility. Some fans argue New York has never fully embraced Claressa the way it's embraced Remy Ma, and this weekend seemed to underscore that gap in bold letters. And here's another rumor that keeps surfacing. Some commentators believe Papoose would have loved to attend the same events tied to Remy Ma's success this weekend: the premiere, the celebrations, the moments where his daughter's mother was being publicly celebrated. If any part of that theory is true, then the silence toward Claressa makes even more sense. Because when a person is emotionally focused elsewhere, they show up elsewhere. It's that simple. Let's break down another angle nobody is really talking about. For years, Papoose built his entire brand around the idea of being the loyal husband, the man who ride or died for Remy Ma while she served time, the man who kept her name lit in every interview, the man who wrote love letters in verses. That reputation was the backbone of everything Papoose stood for in hip-hop. So when fans of Claressa Shields ask why the internet keeps pulling him back into Remy Ma conversations, this is the answer. Papoose built his own myth. And every time that myth pops back up in the culture, it reminds people that Claressa Shields is arriving late to a story that already had a very established main character. And let's not gloss over this next detail because it matters. Multiple fans have pointed out that Claressa has been increasingly quick to snap at other female commentators, specifically female bloggers, female podcast hosts, female YouTubers. The pattern: raised eyebrows. Critics argue that if the frustration was truly about the coverage itself, the anger would be evenly distributed. But when the pushback consistently targets women, the theory shifts. Some viewers believe Claressa sees other women as competition in a broader sense, whether professionally, romantically, or reputationally. That's a heavy accusation, and it's not one anybody can prove. But the pattern is documented enough that it now lives inside the discussion. Here's another wrinkle. Reports have surfaced that during the same weekend, Alycia Baumgardner was making moves of her own, training footage circulating, sparring clips going viral, and social media captions that felt pointedly directed at Claressa. Whether Alycia Baumgardner meant those posts as callouts or not, the internet interpreted them as such. And with every Alycia Baumgardner clip, the pressure on Claressa to actually deliver a fight announcement grew louder. Because at some point, the talking has to stop and the fighting has to start. Otherwise, the entire narrative crumbles. Now here's the part where the entire online conversation converges. Critics keep repeating that Claressa Shields is directing her frustration at everybody except the actual source of the problem. She snaps at bloggers. She snaps at commentators. She snaps at fans who question her choices. But the person she probably should be having a very direct, very private conversation with, Papoose'S, seems to escape her energy entirely in public. From the outside, that looks like misplaced aim. From the inside, that might be self-preservation. Either way, the pattern isn't slowing down. Let me put it this way. Every relationship has an unspoken hierarchy of who gets held accountable when things go wrong. When the person who caused the pain is untouchable in the conversation, the anger has to land somewhere. That's basic human psychology. And critics argue that Claressa Shields has quietly decided Papoose'S is untouchable, which means the anger keeps landing on everybody else, the media, the fans, the commentators, the ex-wife, the rivals in the ring. Everybody except the actual person at the center of the storm. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud. If Claressa could deliver in the ring at the level people once expected, all of this drama would fade into the background instantly. Boxing is a results-driven sport. Wins wipe out narratives. Knockouts erase controversies. But when the fights slow down and the announcements dry up, everything outside the ring becomes the story. And that's exactly what has happened to her over the last several months. The absence of a big fight has created a vacuum. The vacuum has been filled with drama. And the drama keeps getting louder. Now let me be crystal clear about something. Bloggers, commentators, and content creators are not creating this situation. They're reacting to what Claressa herself keeps posting. That's the point critics keep hammering. If she stopped posting for 1 week, no rants, no captions, no defensive replies, the entire cycle would slow down immediately. But every time she responds, she extends the news cycle by another 24 to 48 hours. The oxygen keeps arriving because she keeps sending it herself. And that brings us to the deepest question of the whole story. Is Claressa Shields being treated like a top priority in this relationship, or is she being treated like a stop along the way? Because the pattern people keep spotting, the public appearances without the private consistency, the marital status without the finalized divorce, the tattoos that tell contradicting stories, the silence during moments that mattered most, all of it points in one direction. And critics say that direction is not a happy ending. But here's where we have to be fair. Nothing is confirmed. Every rumor mentioned in this breakdown remains speculation until independently verified. What we can confirm is what has been publicly posted, publicly quoted, and publicly reacted to. And based on those confirmed pieces alone, the story is already dramatic enough. If even half of the unconfirmed layers turn out to be true, this could be one of the loudest celebrity relationship unravelings of the year. And it's only just beginning to accelerate. So here's the final layer of the puzzle. Some fans still believe Claressa Shields and Papoose'S will pull through, that the divorce will finalize, the wedding will happen, the fight deals will get announced, and the tattoos will stop looking mismatched. Other fans believe the exact opposite, that Claressa is watching a slow-motion breakup unfold in front of millions and doesn't yet realize how obvious it looks from the outside. Which camp are you in? Because the internet is split down the middle, and the answer probably says more about you than it does about them. Drop your verdict in the comments below. Was this weekend the moment Claressa finally exposed the cracks in her own relationship, or is she just a strong woman defending herself against unfair critics? Do you think Papoose'S silence on Father's Day was intentional, or is the internet reading too much into it? Do you believe Remy Ma quietly won this weekend without even having to say a single word? Whatever your take is, spell it out below. Because we read every single comment, and this is one of those stories where your perspective might change the way I break down the next chapter of it. If you've made it this far into the video, do me one favor. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps get this story in front of more people who need to see it. Then smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next update in this saga is coming faster than anybody expects. We've got fresh reports rolling in about a possible fight announcement, more rumors about Papoose'S family situation, and more Remy Ma content that's about to hit the timeline in the coming days. You do not want to miss what drops next. And while you're at it, share this video with somebody who's been sleeping on the Claressa Shields and Papoose's situation. Because the entire storyline shifted this weekend, and most people are still processing headlines from 3 weeks ago. Wake them up. Send them here. Let them catch up. Once again, this is your boy Marcus Hale of Shaw Money, signing off on one of the wildest weekend breakdowns we've covered in a while. Stay safe, take care of yourself, protect your peace, guard your energy, watch who you defend online, and I'll see you in the next one. Because trust me, the next one is going to be even bigger, louder, and messier than anybody expects. Peace.